I was sitting in my car outside a 24-hour pharmacy at 3 a.m., engine still running, watching my breath fog up the windshield. I'd driven there to buy melatonin, my 4th bottle that month, because I couldn't face another night lying awake, mentally rehearsing all the things I should be doing with my life. That's when I saw him. This guy, maybe mid-30s, walking out with what looked like the exact same shopping list as mine: energy drinks, sleep aids, and that particular brand of protein bar that promises to optimize your day. He caught my eye through the windshield and gave me this knowing nod, the kind that says, "Yeah, I'm here at 3 a.m. buying solutions too." I sat there for another 20 minutes after he left, engine idling, heat blasting, realizing something that made my chest tight. I'd been coming to places like this, at hours like this, for 7 years. 7 years of buying the next solution. 7 years of believing that tomorrow, with the right supplement, the right morning routine, the right motivation, tomorrow I'd finally become the person I was supposed to be. The dashboard clock read 3:23 a.m. I did the math. At 3 late-night pharmacy runs per week for 7 years, I'd spent over 1,000 hours searching for motivation in fluorescent-lit aisles. Here's what nobody tells you about motivation. It's not that you don't have it, you do. At 3 a.m., you're incredibly motivated. You're motivated to fix yourself. You're motivated to find the answer. You're just motivated in circles, like a hamster running faster and faster on a wheel that's not connected to anything. I drove home without buying the melatonin. The next morning, well, technically the same morning, I called in sick to work. Not because I was giving up, but because I needed to figure something out. I sat at my kitchen table with a notebook and wrote down every single thing I'd tried in the past year to fix myself. Morning routines that lasted 3 days, meditation apps with 137-day streaks that meant nothing, cold showers that just made me cold and angry, gratitude journals filled with the same 3 things repeated different ways, vision boards that became wallpaper I stopped seeing. I stared at that list and felt something shift. It wasn't that these things didn't work. They all worked, temporarily, for about 72 hours each, just long enough for that initial hit of "this is it, this is the answer" to wear off. Just long enough for real life to creep back in. That's when I noticed the pattern. Every single thing on my list was about generating feel motivated, feel grateful, feel energized, feel focused. I'd been trying to feel my way into becoming a different person. But feelings are weather. They change. They pass. You can't build a life on weather. I spent the next 3 days doing something strange. Instead of trying to motivate myself, I studied myself, like a scientist observing a lab rat. No judgment, just observation. I noticed that I could sit for 4 hours straight researching the perfect productivity system, but couldn't spend 10 minutes actually doing the work the system was supposed to help with. I noticed that I had 17 different goal-setting templates saved on my computer but had never completed a single project from any of them. I noticed that I knew exactly what I should eat, how I should exercise, when I should sleep. I had the information. I had the motivation in bursts. What I didn't have was a bridge between knowing and doing that didn't rely on how I felt in the moment. That's when I understood the cruelest joke of all. Motivation isn't the solution to inertia. Motivation is inertia. It's the endless preparation for action without the action itself. It's running in place at maximum speed. I called my friend Marcus. He's one of those people who just does things, doesn't talk about them, doesn't plan them to death, just does them. I'd always assumed he was naturally motivated, naturally disciplined, one of those genetic lottery winners. "How do you stay so motivated?" I asked him. He laughed. "I don't. I haven't felt motivated in years." "But you run every morning. You built that entire deck yourself. You learned Spanish." "Yeah," he said, "but not because I felt like it." "Then why?" There was a pause. "Because they're on the schedule." "That's it? You just schedule things?" "No," he said. "I became the schedule." I thought he was being cryptic, but he explained. He doesn't wake up and decide whether to run based on how he feels. The decision was made 2 years ago when he set the system. Now he just executes. The person who has to feel motivated and the person who runs are different people. The runner doesn't need motivation because the runner doesn't make decisions. The runner just runs. Over the next week, I tried something different. Instead of trying to generate feelings, I started creating what I call decision-free zones, times where the decision was already made, where motivation was irrelevant. From 9 to 10 a.m., I write. Not, I try to write, or I write if I feel inspired. I write, good, bad, inspired, exhausted, irrelevant. The decision is already made. From 6 to 6:30 p.m., I walk. Rain, snow, exhaustion, enthusiasm, irrelevant. The decision is already made. Before bed, I set up tomorrow's clothes, tomorrow's breakfast, tomorrow's first task. Not because I'm motivated, but because that's what happens at that time. The first week was hell. My brain screamed at me, "But you don't feel like it." And I responded, "I know. We're doing it anyway." Something strange happened around day 10. The screaming stopped. Not because I suddenly felt motivated, but because that part of my brain, the part that needed to feel ready before acting, started to atrophy from lack of use. 3 months in, I had a revelation that made me pull my car over to the side of the road. I hadn't thought about motivation in weeks, not because I'd become some superhuman who didn't need it, but because I'd made it irrelevant. My life was running on systems that didn't check in with my feelings before executing. The writing happened whether I felt creative or not, and surprisingly, creativity showed up more often when it wasn't required for admission. The exercise happened whether I felt strong or not, and strength came from the doing, not the other way around. The work happened whether I felt focused or not, and focus emerged from the constraint, not from waiting for the right mental state. I'd been waiting my whole life for feelings to align with actions, but feelings follow action. They always have. I'd had it exactly backwards. Here's what I learned in that pharmacy parking lot, though I didn't know it yet. There are only 3 systems that matter, and none of them require motivation. The first is what I call the pre-decision system. Every important action in your life should be decided in advance when you're calm, rational, and clear. Not in the moment when you're tired, stressed, or scrolling. Sunday night, you decide what Monday through Friday will do. The person who makes the decision and the person who executes it are different people. This protects you from yourself. The second is the environment system. Your environment should make the right action the easiest action. I don't mean just putting your running shoes by the door. I mean structuring your entire physical and digital world so that doing the right thing requires less effort than doing the wrong thing. I deleted every food delivery app and put my phone charger in the basement. Now ordering takeout requires more steps than cooking. Getting my phone at night requires more effort than reading the book on my nightstand. The third is what Marcus accidentally taught me, the identity system. You don't do things because you're motivated to do them. You do them because you're the person who does them. This isn't fake it till you make it. This is decide it and become it. I'm not trying to become a writer. I'm a person who writes from 9 to 10 a.m. The identity comes first, the feeling follows. Maybe. 6 months after that 3 a.m. pharmacy run, I ran into the same guy again. Different pharmacy, normal hour this time, 2 p.m. on a Saturday. He recognized me too. "No more 3 a.m. supplement runs?" he asked. "No more chasing," I said. He looked at me like he wanted to ask more but didn't. I saw his basket, multivitamins, normal stuff. No desperation purchases, no magical solutions. "Yeah," he said, "me neither." We didn't exchange numbers or become friends, but there was something in that brief interaction, a mutual recognition that we'd both stopped running on that particular wheel. I think about that first night a lot, sitting in my car, watching my breath cloud the windshield, believing that the answer was just one purchase away, one book away, one morning routine away, one burst of motivation away. The truth was harder and simpler. The answer wasn't something I needed to find, it was something I needed to stop looking for. Your life is not waiting for you to feel ready. It's not waiting for you to get motivated. It's not waiting for you to become the person capable of living it. Your life is what you repeatedly do, regardless of how you feel about it. I used to think that was depressing, that discipline was just forcing yourself through life without joy, but it's the opposite. When you stop needing to feel motivated to act, you're free. Free from the tyranny of your changing moods, free from the prison of perpetual preparation, free to actually build something, regardless of the emotional weather. Last week, I finished writing my first novel, not because I was inspired every day for 6 months. I wasn't. Most days I felt nothing, but every morning from 9 to 10 a.m. I wrote. The inspiration showed up sometimes, unannounced, like a cat that comes and goes as it pleases. But the writing happened regardless. Someone asked me how I stayed motivated to finish it. I told them the truth, I didn't. I just became the person who writes from 9 to 10 a.m. The novel was simply what accumulated while I was being that person. They looked disappointed, like I was withholding the real secret. But that is the secret. Stop waiting to feel like the person you want to become. Start being them, badly, inconsistently, but reliably. The feelings will follow, or they won't. But by then, it won't matter because you'll already be living the life you were waiting to feel ready for. If you're watching this at 3 a.m., searching for the thing that will finally make tomorrow different, I need you to understand something. You already have everything you need. Not the motivation, you'll never have enough of that. But the ability to act without it. The ability to make decisions when you're clear and execute them when you're not. The ability to become the schedule instead of needing to feel like following it. The pharmacy is still there, still 24 hours, still selling solutions to people who think they're broken. But I don't go anymore. Not because I'm fixed, but because I stopped trying to fix myself and started building systems that work regardless of how broken I feel on any given day. That's the difference between chasing motivation and creating structure. One requires you to feel ready. The other just requires you to show up. And showing up, just showing up, nothing more, is something you can do right now at 3 a.m., feeling exactly how you feel, being exactly who you are. The person you're waiting to become, they're not coming, but the person you are right now can start acting like them. And that's all becoming really is, acting like the person until the person becomes the act. Start tomorrow. Not because you're ready, but because tomorrow is when you start. The decision is already made. Now you just have to be there when it happens.